Hi class, wanted to take a look at working in this case with a scan of a hand and some possible ways to go about cleaning it up and all, definitely with like all this issues around the fingers and the sides there. But more importantly, this came in with a wall thickness. Okay, sometimes that'll definitely happen with how the output is done. So I want to look at how to get rid of that, because maybe you want to do like a stacked piece with this or interlocking piece, and if you try to do anything with that, all you're going to end up with is a bunch of like rings if you try to do a slice with it. And if you do interlocking kind of setup with it, it definitely wouldn't work well at all at that. So what we're going to do is first actually cut the bottom off, but purposely leave it open so we can see what's inside, or see that inside um, form there, and see if we can just pick it and delete it, get rid of it that way. So go over to the edit menu, go up and choose plain cut. I'm going to pull it down and position it right about there. I'll cut all the way through it. Just get rid of the bottom, and the real important thing here is to turn off, make sure it's no fill for the fill type. Okay, hit accept. Now when I look at it, you see that it's a hollow form like that. Okay, so first thing to try with that is to go up to select and just use the brush, click inside somewhere, pick a little bit, type the E, which if you look underneath modify, you'll see pretty much all the different ways to modify the selection. So E's expand to connected, and what it did is it expanded and picked all the inside, okay, which and then pick the rest of it. So that means it is separate form in there, which is good. So at this point, you just try to do X, which basically erases it, gets rid of it, and you can see it left a pretty good form there to work with. Okay, so that's, if that works, great, you're in good shape. Then you can come back in and just do another cut, fill it up on the bottom, and deal with all these. But let's undo that and say, well, when I did that, it did get rid of everything. It showed all this. So here's another way to approach it. I'm going to do is make sure I'm in the orthographic views as such, and I'm going to go get kind of a standard view, in this case the back view. Okay, and what I'm going to do is once again pick a little piece. Okay, when I go to modify this time, I'm going to use the select visible. Okay, so what that does is anything in this view, it'll pick. Okay, so that's good. Now I'm going to rotate 90 degrees. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and rotate full 180 so you can just see this now. Did I deselect it? Yeah. Got to be real careful. If you click in the window, it deselects things. So let me try again. Let me go back to the left side. And then you start getting this. This is the lasso tool. So let me try again. Pick. And then I'll go to modify, select visible. Okay, and this time when I go to rotate, I'm just going to use my mouse button and snap it around. Okay, and then I'm going to hold down the shift key, go to modify, and select visible again. So now from this view, it picks what's visible. Okay, so that'll get the majority. Now there may be some little areas as such that may be still active, so tell you what, I'm going to go get a slightly different view, and once again hold down the shift key and say select visible, and it'll pick up the rest of those little areas for me. Okay, now you can always continue to brush, and you know, if let's say there was an area right in here it didn't catch, or down in between the fingers, you can just use the brush tool. You don't have to hold down the shift key or anything like that. So we got everything kind of on the outside picked. Now we go to modify again. This time we go to invert. Okay, so literally what that's going to do is invert the selection to now it picks what's on the inside. And once again, just type delete, cleans it up, takes care of it that way. Okay, so that's a kind of a real you know, two different approaches to getting rid of that inside form to work with. All right, now let's talk about all this other stuff that's here on the hand scan. Some of it, you know, you can just use the brush tool, select a little area like that, and kind of be careful about it, and just hit delete. Start cleaning things up that way. Okay, realizing if it leaves holes and all, you're gonna have to kind of deal with that. Once again, there's my lasso tool coming into play. So let's try this again, hit delete. So some of that will take care of it pretty easily. Now, I'm going to make the assumption on this one that, I can sit here and I'll show you a technique how to clean all this up in a second. But let's say I realize, I don't want all my fingers, or I want just from like maybe the thumb on down, so these can be chopped off. So actually what I'm going to do is go back to the edit menu, do the plane cut again, and this time I'm going to need to go down to the bottom. Actually, I won't do that right now. Let me just go up here to the top and then invert that. Remember, that's that little thing. You can switch it around. And maybe I'll go up just a slight little bit more. There we go. Looks a little strange, but I think, once again, if you're focusing on this area or in the palm, this is quite acceptable. So now we got just that part of the model left. Now, when I did do that cut, some of it did get filled up, but other areas didn't. Okay, so I'm going to leave that still open for a little bit. I'm going to go over here and try to address some of this real quickly before I get into making it kind of cover our fully closed area. So I'm going to use the select tool again and do brush. And once again, that technique of edit, erase, and fill does a real nice job of kind of cleaning it up, with the form and all. Let's see, we'll stick with the smooth. We'll just maybe kind of bump it down in this case, down to about 50%. Alright, now we're going to look at cleaning up some more details of this. Now, one thing that happens with the orthographic view sometimes, when you try to zoom in like that, you end up cutting through the form. It's called a clipping plane in the camera. So I'm going to switch this back to perspective. Now I'm really close, but that'll give me an ability to get up closer to these. Because basically what I do now is just pick them and delete them. And there's kind of random pieces there. So sometimes you can try to do the brush tool. Now, if you're not actually clicking on anything, you get into the lasso tool, okay, if you're clicking out here. So I'm going to purposely put it into the lasso tool and just make these little selection areas and go around and delete them. Let's try this. Okay, let's see if we can do one more. Now, sometimes it does that. I don't quite understand it. It does like a random selection, make swath or crop it or something like that. So I'm going to clear it, restart the tool, choose lasso again, and just see if we can do that. And try it one more time. Alright. I don't know if it's something with the view or what exactly that does it, but I think we got it that time. So definitely on some of those that are like that. What happened? I lost a whole thumb up here. Wow. Alright, let's try to undo some of this. Apparently I wasn't seeing a lot of the other selections. Normally I had idea how that happened. Okay. Let's try this one more time and we'll pay attention. Now, lasso tool usually does a pretty good job on these little details. But as you can see, it can be a little problematic. And just make sure we don't have anything else selected. I think this time it's going to work. Let's get this one random chunk here. Okay. I'll try again. And I'm going to slide down to this area. And I'm going to actually restart the tool. Seems like it goes about 2 or 3 times and you got to kind of restart it. Now I'm going to see if I can capture all this at one time. Nope. Before I do anything else, look around. Looks good. Alright, and doing pretty good. Now let's see about this area again. So I would just kind of keep working through these areas that you can clean up and all. Now that may be, we'll see what happens. Let's do, remember the shortcut is erase and fill. I think it didn't work properly this time because of those open areas, so I'm going to cancel that. And a couple things I can do here. You can come underneath modify and you can try to expand the ring so it keeps going out and basically gets past these areas. Let's actually try to contract the ring a little bit. Okay, let's give that a shot. One more time. Okay, now I will purposely come in and select again around this. Select down here. Okay, looks like I'm avoiding that. Let's see. Okay, did pretty good. And we'll accept that and keep moving on. Still got a random little piece here and there with it. But let me just do one more like this real quick, just to show you that you kind of keep adding to this as you go up. And you can continue to make a selection like that. I'm actually going to clear it and clear that. Let's try this again. So this really kind of comes into play about how careful you need to be around these, to see how it captures the shape and all. It does a pretty decent job. Remember, you can always play with this to without bulging out too much. Remember, you can go actually a little bit negative with the bulge amount. That will kind of pull it back in for you. Okay, so we'll go with that right now. All right, now get close to what I want with something like this. So I'm now going to try back underneath the edit to make solid. Okay, and what that'll do is try to fill in all those holes that are there. And gotta say, this is using fast and kind of letting it take care of it. Now big areas that might be a little more problematic, but a lot of those smaller things looks great. Okay, so it worked out pretty well, so we'll accept that. And then it does make a copy of this, so if you ever need to kind of get back to the original one, it's sitting there. Okay, so if something happens where it just totally whacks out or whatever, just remember you got a copy there, and this is the object browser. If you want to get back to that later on, it's underneath the view menu there. Okay, now for this, I would say the last kind of edits we need to do, I'll just show you real quickly where I would clean up this further is once again doing a little selecting in here. Swing around. Gotta pick this side. Try not to, once again, stay in kind of an area that makes sense. Don't go over here and break it up into two separate pieces. Let's see. Looks pretty good. Maybe a little bit more right in there. So F. Okay, not bad at all. Something like that. Alright, so once again, it kind of shows you an approach that you can do to get this model. Remember, it came in with an inside wall. Looked at a couple different ways to get rid of it, and then try to clean up this model. Sometimes, once again, it's just better to get rid of stuff and use what's left, something like this, or try to clean it up, or go back and get another scan done if it's really too bad. Alright, so hopefully this will be helpful.